Most seniors have no idea that a simple 10-second pulse check can reveal whether their heart is aging gracefully or quietly struggling. And the shocking part, many who try it discover signs they never expected, signs that were buried under years of stress, fatigue, unnecessary tests, false positives, and fear disguised as routine care. There's a hidden truth doctors rarely mention. Your heart often knows more than the machines, and it speaks long before any scan ever does. But here's the twist almost nobody talks about. The very tests meant to protect you can sometimes speed up the worry, leading to overdiagnosis, medical harm, and radiation risk that does nothing to make you healthier. And yet, seniors across the country are learning a gentler way, a safer alternative that gives you clarity in seconds, right at home, using nothing but your fingertips. Imagine discovering your heart's true age today, without fear, without panic, without anyone rushing you into procedures you don't need. If you've ever felt tired out of nowhere, if your pulse jumps randomly, if you've been told conflicting things about your senior health, or if you simply want to feel young again, you're in the right place. Because this test isn't just revealing, it's empowering. And once you understand what your heart's trying to tell you, you'll realize how much control you still have over your energy, your strength, and your longevity. The 10-second heart test that shocks most seniors. He often starts by sharing a simple 10-second heart test that quietly reveals more than most seniors expect. It's not some high-tech gadget. It's just a moment of tuning in to your pulse and noticing how your body responds. And honestly, the first time someone tries it, they're surprised at how much their heart whispers about fatigue, stress, or hidden radiation risk from years of unnecessary tests they never questioned. Mini hook, but what most people don't realize is that this tiny test exposes something far deeper. He explains it like a wise friend. Place 2 fingers on your wrist, count the beats for 10 seconds, multiply by 6. Simple, right? Yet many seniors feel a sudden wave of curiosity when their number seems off, too fast, too slow, or unexpectedly jumpy. He jokes lightly that the heart never lies, even when we pretend everything's fine. And naturally, this raises questions about overdiagnosis and whether false positives have shaped people's fears more than their real senior health needs. He often recalls a gentleman around 78 who did the test while sipping morning tea. His pulse spiked higher than expected, even though he felt normal. That tiny moment opened a door, a realization that his heart had been tired for years. No panic, no medical harm, just honest awareness. And the mentor gently reminds viewers that preventive care starts small, long before anyone orders unnecessary tests that add anxiety instead of clarity. To make it practical, he suggests doing the 10-second test right after waking, after climbing stairs, and again before bed. These tiny snapshots help spot patterns most people miss, like sudden jumps that aren't tied to activity. He reassures them it's not about diagnosing anything, it's about noticing how the heart reacts to everyday life. And the more someone observes, the easier it becomes to see when safer alternatives might help reduce stress before running to the clinic. He speaks gently, reminding them that this simple test isn't meant to scare, it's meant to empower. Many seniors have been conditioned to panic over every little change, often leading to unnecessary tests and the spiral of overdiagnosis. But awareness brings calm, confidence, and a sense of control. And quietly between the lines, he hints that this tiny test reveals why some hearts seem to age faster. The hidden reasons your heart ages faster after 60. He often says that after 60, the heart doesn't age suddenly, it ages silently. The real reasons rarely show up in quick checkups, and many seniors overlook them because they've been told everything is normal for your age. What most people miss is how stress, poor sleep, and years of unnecessary tests quietly increase radiation risk and strain the body. But the part doctors rarely mention is how these tiny pressures stack up over time. A mentor like Tone helps him explain that the heart functions like a loyal worker who never takes a day off. When someone spends years dealing with false positives, fear-based checkups, and overdiagnosis, the heart reacts to that emotional weight too. He reminds viewers that preventive care isn't just physical, it's emotional as well. And surprisingly, a calmer mind often lowers the heart's workload more than any machine in a clinic. He shares a story of a woman in her late 70s who always felt anxious before medical appointments. Not because she disliked doctors, but because she feared being told something was wrong again. That constant tension aged her heart faster than any birthday ever could. When she started using safer alternatives, simple breathing routines, light stretching, and reducing unnecessary tests, her energy slowly returned. She said she felt lighter, as if her heart finally exhaled. He also explains how small daily choices, like sitting for long periods or skipping hydration, add quiet pressure the heart keeps compensating for. Even something as simple as spending 10 minutes walking after meals can reduce how hard the heart has to work. He suggests trying mini walks, gentle Tai Chi videos, or even stepping outdoors for fresh air, tiny actions with big preventive care benefits. And interestingly, these habits often reveal early signs long before machines do. Then he leans in with soft wisdom. Your heart's age isn't measured by numbers on a chart, it's measured by how resilient it feels. Many seniors believe decline is inevitable, but it's often the result of years of stress, overdiagnosis, and medical harm that could have been avoided. When they shift towards simpler, safer alternatives, the heart responds quickly. And this sets the stage for something even more subtle, the body signals that show when the heart is truly tired. The subtle body signals that reveal your heart is tired. He often explains that the heart doesn't shout when it's tired, it whispers. These whispers show up as tiny clues: light dizziness when standing up, shortness of breath during simple tasks, or a sudden wave of fatigue in the afternoon. Most seniors brush these off as just age, but they're often early indicators of a heart working harder than it should. And what most people don't realize is that these signals appear long before any scan or unnecessary tests pick them up. He reminds viewers that a tired heart isn't always about pain. Sometimes it's cold hands, shallow breathing, or a pulse that feels irregular for just a moment. These subtle signs often get ignored because they don't look dramatic. Yet they matter, especially when seniors have a history of false positives or overdiagnosis that left them confused about what's serious and what's not. Paying attention to these small patterns is one of the most powerful forms of preventive care. He shares the story of an 82-year-old lady who told him she always felt a tiny tremble in her chest when she walked from her kitchen to her garden. She thought it was anxiety. But once she started tracking it, with the same 10-second test from earlier, she realized her heart was simply tired by midday. Introducing safer alternatives like slow morning stretches and lighter meals reduced the episodes dramatically. Small, consistent steps made her body feel steadier. To help people notice these whispers, he suggests simple, practical habits: pausing for 5 deep breaths before getting out of bed, doing a slow head-to-toe check-in while brushing teeth, or keeping a small notebook to record moments of unusual fatigue or breathlessness. These aren't medical tests, so there's no radiation risk, no stress, and no medical harm. Just awareness, and awareness is often the first line of preventive care. And while these signals can feel subtle or easy to dismiss, he reminds viewers that the heart always tells the truth. The trick is to listen before the signals grow louder. And quietly, he hints that what makes the heart even more tired are the unnoticed daily habits that push it too hard, a natural bridge to the next insight he'll reveal. The daily habits quietly making your heart work too hard. He often explains that the habits aging a senior's heart the fastest aren't the dramatic ones. They're the quiet, everyday choices people barely notice. Hours of sitting, late-night meals, shallow breathing, skipped hydration. Each one adds a tiny weight the heart has to carry. And for many who've already faced unnecessary tests, overdiagnosis, radiation risk, and confusing false positives, these daily patterns create stress the body never truly gets to recover from. He likes to use simple metaphors. Sitting too long is like leaving a heavy book on the heart. It can hold the weight, but not forever. Even a 2-minute walk through the house every hour gives the heart room to breathe. He suggests gently stretching the arms overhead, moving the ankles, or stepping outside for sunlight. These safer alternatives reduce medical harm caused by chronic tension and support preventive care more than people expect. He remembers a 76-year-old man who always felt exhausted by mid-afternoon. The reason was surprisingly simple. He barely drank water until dinner. Dehydration made his blood thicker, forcing his heart to pump harder. When he began sipping water every morning and taking small hydration breaks, his energy improved in just a few days. He laughed and said it felt like his heart had finally taken off its winter coat. He also highlights emotional habits, the ones no cardiologist can measure. Constant worry, doom scrolling, and Googling symptoms often push seniors into more unnecessary tests and fear-based decisions. He encourages grounding rituals instead. 5 slow breaths upon waking, listening to calming music, or keeping a short gratitude list. Small practices like these soften the heart's workload and bring clarity without any radiation risk or medical harm. Food choices play a subtle role too. Heavy dinners, long gaps between meals, or eating while stressed can raise the heart rate more than people realize. He suggests lighter evening meals, warm herbal teas, and adding heart-friendly snacks like almonds or blueberries during the day. When seniors shift these small habits, the heart responds with surprising relief, a reminder that even long-term strain can ease with simple, consistent changes. The early warning signs most seniors mistake for normal aging. He often explains that many seniors ignore early heart warnings because they look so ordinary. A little shortness of breath while tying shoes, a strange heaviness in the chest after emotional conversations, or legs that tire faster during walks, these signs blend in with what most people assume is getting older. But in reality, they're often subtle indications that the heart is carrying more strain than it should, especially after years of unnecessary tests and the confusion that comes with false positives. He tells the story of a 74-year-old woman who believed her constant fatigue came from age, not from her heart working too hard. She brushed off dizziness, blamed her breathlessness on the weather, and ignored swelling in her ankles. When she finally paid attention, she realized these signals had been speaking to her for years. Once she adopted safer alternatives like slow morning stretches, better hydration, and mindful breathing, she noticed her energy rising in ways she hadn't felt in a decade. He gently reminds viewers that the body rarely hides the truth, it just speaks softly at first. A sudden spike in pulse after mild activity, feeling unusually emotional, or being unable to recover quickly after small tasks are all early patterns worth noticing. These signs aren't emergencies, they're invitations for preventive care. No radiation risk, no medical harm, just awareness that might spare someone from rushing into unnecessary tests they don't actually need. He gives practical suggestions to help people recognize these early hints. For example, he encourages seniors to take short notes at the end of the day. Did I feel breathless walking to the mailbox? Was my pulse higher than usual after lunch? He calls this a heart journal, a simple tool that helps reveal trends long before they become problems. It's a soft, friendly way to build trust with the body again, especially after years of overdiagnosis that made many doubt their own intuition. He likes to add a touch of humor. If your phone needs daily updates, doesn't your heart deserve at least a quick check-in? Viewers tend to smile, but the message stays with them. Paying attention early often makes a dramatic difference in senior health. These subtle signs may look like ordinary aging, but the body is far wiser than people think, and listening closely can change everything. Why these common symptoms lead to dangerous overdiagnosis. He often explains that many seniors end up in the overdiagnosis trap not because something is truly wrong, but because the symptoms they experience are so vague that doctors feel pressured to check everything. Light chest pressure, mild dizziness, fatigue after meals, none of these automatically point to heart disease, yet they often start a chain reaction of unnecessary tests. And with each scan comes more radiation risk, more anxiety, and more chances of false positives that create fear instead of clarity. He shares the story of a 79-year-old man who simply mentioned he felt tired climbing stairs. One comment led to a cascade of exams he didn't fully understand. After hours in clinics, stressful machines, and multiple opinions, every result came back normal. He walked away more confused than when he arrived, carrying emotional weight instead of answers. This is the kind of medical harm seniors often face, not from illness, but from overdosing that solves nothing. He gently explains that the healthcare system tends to treat every symptom like a puzzle that must be solved with equipment, even when preventive care and observation would be safer alternatives. A racing heart might be dehydration, a skipped beat might be stress, and mild breathlessness might just mean someone hasn't moved enough that week. But because these symptoms overlap with serious conditions, many doctors react with an abundance of caution, unintentionally creating a cycle of overdiagnosis. He encourages seniors to understand their bodies before rushing into intense testing. Keeping track of how symptoms behave at different times of day, drinking more water, walking after meals, or practicing calm breathing can reveal patterns that expensive machines can't. These simple steps help someone notice whether symptoms are consistent, random, or connected to daily habits. And because they involve no needles, no radiation, and no medical harm, they're always a good place to start. With a warm smile, he reminds viewers that their intuition matters. Seniors often know when something feels truly wrong, and they also know when a symptom feels more like exhaustion or stress. By learning to observe before reacting, many avoid unnecessary tests and the spiral of fear created by false positives. Understanding this gives them not just peace of mind, but real control over their senior health journey. The medical trap: unnecessary tests, false positives, and hidden harm. He often talks about how easy it is for seniors to fall into what he calls the silent medical trap. It usually starts with a harmless appointment, maybe for fatigue or mild chest pressure, and suddenly they're being sent for scans, stress tests, and follow-ups. Many don't realize these procedures can carry radiation risk, emotional pressure, and the possibility of false positives that create fear instead of real answers. And once the cycle begins, it's hard to step off the treadmill. He recalls an 81-year-old woman who once told him, "Every test led to another, and every result scared me more than the last." Nothing was actually wrong with her heart. She was simply dehydrated, stressed, and not sleeping well. But the chain of unnecessary tests made her believe she was fragile. He explains that this psychological weight is its own form of medical harm, a burden seniors carry quietly, long after the appointments end. He shares that the healthcare system, though well-intentioned, often prioritizes ruling out everything rather than understanding the whole person. A small symptom gets magnified, a slight variation in a number is labeled abnormal, and suddenly seniors feel like walking risk factors. Overdiagnosis becomes a shadow that follows them into every clinic visit. He gently suggests that before rushing to machines, many seniors would benefit from safer alternatives rooted in preventive care: hydration, breathing routines, daily movement, and observing symptoms across a few days. He offers practical examples to empower viewers. If breathlessness shows up only after heavy meals, that's not a heart attack, that's digestion overworking. If pulses spike only during stress, a short walk or a cold splash of water may settle the body faster than any scan. If dizziness happens only when standing too fast, that's circulation adjusting, not a medical emergency. When seniors learn these distinctions, they save themselves fear, time, money, and potential radiation exposure. He often adds a gentle reminder that seniors deserve clarity, not confusion. Many of them grew up trusting medical authority completely, but times have changed. Testing has increased dramatically, often without improving outcomes. Understanding their own body can protect them from unnecessary tests and the emotional exhaustion of false positives. And as seniors grow more confident in their intuition, they feel stronger, calmer, and more in control of their senior health journey. Real stories of seniors who discovered their heart's true age. He loves sharing real stories because they help seniors see themselves through someone else's journey. One of his favorites is about a 72-year-old man who believed his heart was getting old too fast. After years of unnecessary tests, false positives, and constant fear, he felt fragile. But when he finally focused on simple preventive care, walking after breakfast, drinking water earlier in the day, practicing 5 deep breaths before bed, his pulse stabilized in a way that shocked even him. He felt younger without a single machine involved. He recalls an 84-year-old woman who thought she needed constant medical monitoring because of a mild flutter in her chest. Decades of overdiagnosis had trained her to panic over every heartbeat. But once she learned about safer alternatives and how emotional stress affects the heart, she began keeping a small heart journal. In just 2 weeks, she spotted a pattern. The flutter only happened after big family gatherings. Not a heart issue, just excitement and fatigue. That realization alone lifted years of fear from her shoulders. Another story comes from a senior who spent half his life believing his heart was damaged because of one false positive he got at age 50. That single test shaped 25 years of worry. When he finally did the simple 10-second test at home and noticed how steady his pulse actually was, something shifted. He said it felt like he got permission to breathe again. Reducing radiation risk and avoiding unnecessary tests became part of his healing, not out of fear, but out of newfound confidence. He often highlights the story of a woman in her late 70s who switched from constant testing to constant awareness. She used to rely on machines to tell her if she was safe. Today, she listens to her body. If her pulse rises, she checks hydration. If she feels tired, she rests earlier. If her breath shortens, she steps outside for fresh air. Her doctor later told her that her heart looked remarkably young for her age. She joked that she traded fear-based care for preventive care and won. One of the most touching stories is of an 80-year-old man who felt old until he realized his heart wasn't tired. He was. After years of medical harm caused by unnecessary testing, he began focusing on calm mornings, warm teas, stretching, and daily laughter. His heart didn't just stabilize, his joy returned. He often says, "My heart's true age isn't on a chart, it's in how I feel when I wake up." And that belief has inspired countless seniors to reclaim their own inner strength. The simple, safe routine that keeps your heart young after 60. He often says that keeping the heart young after 60 isn't about complicated programs or high-intensity workouts. It's about a simple, safe routine practiced with consistency. He teaches seniors a gentle three-part rhythm: light movement, steady breathing, and mindful hydration. These habits reduce stress on the heart without any radiation risk, without unnecessary tests, and without the medical harm that often comes from overdiagnosis. Small steps, big transformations. He starts with movement because it's the heart's favorite language. Not the gym, just slow walks, lifting light groceries, or stretching while waiting for tea to steep. Seniors who move for 5 minutes every hour notice their pulse becomes more stable throughout the day. He shares an example of a lady who walks while listening to soft jazz each morning. She says it makes her heart feel like it's smiling. These safer alternatives support senior health better than most people expect. Breathing is the second pillar. He teaches a simple method: inhale for 4 seconds, exhale for 6. This calming rhythm signals the heart to slow down and release tension. It's especially powerful for seniors who've spent years anxious over false positives or unnecessary tests. He recalls a man who practiced this breathing every night before bed. Within a week, his pulse steadier, his sleep deeper, his mornings calmer. Preventive care begins with moments like these. Hydration is the quiet hero. He suggests sipping warm water early in the day, adding a pinch of lemon for taste. It thins the blood naturally and eases the heart's workload. Many seniors only drink when they feel thirsty, which makes the heart pump harder without them realizing it. A simple routine, a glass upon waking, another mid-morning, one with lunch, can dramatically change how the heart responds to daily stress, reducing strain without any medical intervention. He ties the routine together with one more habit: listening. Listening to breath, to pulse, to energy levels after meals or walks. This personal awareness helps seniors avoid unnecessary tests and identify what truly matters. When the heart feels heard, it works with ease. When the body feels supported, it ages slower. And when seniors choose simple, safe routines over stress and fear, they discover a heart that feels far younger than their age suggests. And here's something important. Most people stop right here. They learn the 10-second test, they feel the shock, they get curious, but they don't know what to do next. They don't know how to support their heart, their energy, or their longevity in a simple, structured way. And that's exactly why I created 2 complete longevity packs that guide you step by step with calm clarity and science-based direction. Inside my total longevity package, I gathered some of the most complete resources I've ever created: guides on brain health, sleep, nutrition, stress recovery, weekly checklists, planners, recipes, and practical tools that help you build a younger, stronger, more resilient body. It's over 250 pages of real, usable material. Nothing complicated, nothing overwhelming. Just the kind of wisdom I wish every senior had access to. And despite everything that's inside, it's still incredibly affordable, because I want anyone to be able to start this journey. And for those who want something even simpler to begin with, I created Healthy Habits for a Long Life, a gentle, easy-to-follow pack that helps you build daily routines that protect your heart, your mind, and your longevity. Includes a habit planner, a wellness tracker, heart-friendly recipes, and a beautiful checklist to keep your progress visible and motivating. It's one of the most practical collections I've ever put together, and people love how effortless it feels. These 2 resources were designed to take you from confusion to clarity, from "I don't know where to start" to "I finally feel in control again." They're the exact tools that help me move from exhaustion and stress to a stronger, calmer, more energetic life. And if you feel connected to this message, the link is right below. Explore them whenever you're ready, no pressure, just an invitation to go deeper on your own terms.
Go check the link in my bio. There is something extra waiting just for you, my friend.